Hey all, this is Chase from the All Blue Crew, taking a look at my Dofi playthrough. This is round 3 of my locals run with Doflamingo, and honestly, this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup. This is me versus Uta. I did end up keeping my opening hand, though I didn't have a Perona in hand. Now, I typically will mulligan for a Perona, but honestly, this hand was pretty solid all around. I had the Doflamingo blocker to set up the top 5, had the Gravity Blade, 2-2Ks, and a Jinbei. Now, that's enough good stuff in hand for me to warrant keeping it, though I would really love to see a pudding in this matchup, just because Uta just has so many ways to add cards to hand, and looky there is a pudding right on top of my deck. Honestly, a pretty decent 5 grip there. We got the Jinbei, the 2 Weevils, a pudding, and the Boa for potentially a late game play. I'm going to go ahead and stack the top 5, probably to draw the pudding for the turn, and then allowing the Weevil to be on top, potentially setting myself into a second Weevil, and maybe a Jinbei or something to play the other Weevil out of hand, to kind of just establish myself on board and just have a really strong board. Now, Uta's really good at just like playing a Brook and then like dropping into a Mihawk and dropping into a Zoro, or just filling up the board for like minimal Dawn usage, so they can fill up pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and swing 5 at lead. They are going to take themselves down to 4, and going to take it over to their turn. They are at the 4 Dawn turn. They're not going to attach a Dawn, so just going to swing 5 at my lead. I'm going to go ahead and counter out of that. I want to stay at a pretty high life total, just because Uta can get incredibly aggressive. The fact that Uta didn't attach a Dawn pretty much led me to believe that they were going to play like a 4-drop, and they did. So Brook into Nami, and that's what I'm talking about. Uta's really good at getting on board pretty quickly, so I'm going to try to match to the best of my ability. So 5 Dawn turn. I could potentially, don't really have a good Jinbei plan in hand. I'm trying to think what I want to do. Probably just going to attach to leader and just try to pressure life. So we might see like a 9k swing go at lead. And yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my blocker up. There's no reason to pressure for 5 or 6 with my blocker. Then we're going to flip over that Weevil that we knew about. That Weevil is going to draw a Weevil. And then next turn, I'm going to have a Jinbei, at least 2 Jinbeis in hand to do Jinbei Weevil, something like that. So Uta does not really want to counter out of a 9k swing. That's 2 2ks and a 1k at minimum. So they're going to go ahead and take that and go to 3. So right now, my goal is to be as aggressive as possible, just because I know Uta can set up just a bajillion blockers. Once we get to the late game, they can go with 7-drop Luffy, into a 4-drop Brook, into a 3-drop Uta blocker. And that's just honestly a lot of walls for me to have to jump over. So I'm going to stay pretty aggressive, and I'm also going to try to handle my life and try to stay at that pretty high life, just because Uta can be a very aggressive with their 3-drop event that can untap their leader to allow their leader to swing a second time. So we're going to go ahead and see a New Genesis. New Genesis, very strong for Uta. Basically lets them look at top 3, grab a film card, and then set up their Dawn. So it's basically a free event. And going to go ahead and do that. Grab that, and that's actually the second New Genesis that has happened this turn. There's already 2 in the yard. So that's a little scary. Uta's being able to build a very large hand of cards they actually care about. If that Nami swings as well, that Nami's going to go ahead and look at the top 3, grab another card. If they attach 1 Dawn to Uta, it's going to find them another card. And so that, honestly, setting myself up into a really, really good pudding turn. And so having that pudding on top of deck, it might actually be really, really good here. Especially with Uta's like getting towards might actually be like getting towards 10 cards in hand at this point. I think right now they're at 8 cards in hand. If they use 1 Dawn for Nami's ability, attach 1 to the leader, they're going to go up even higher. So that looks like that's what they're going to do. Again, Uta doing the thing, drawing lots of stuff. There's another New Genesis. That's New Genesis number 3. I am going to go ahead and just take a 5k here. I definitely could afford countering out of that, but I do kind of want to see what I can draw as well. So typically with 5 life leaders, first hit's free. So I'm gonna let Uta get that first hit for free. And then let's see what they're going to do here. They did tap my Doflamingo blocker, but did not swing into it. Potentially we could see Uta swinging into my Doflamingo blocker. Going to go 6k, and looks like that's going at lead as well. Going to reveal that untapping event. Now, I have no idea what the name of that event is. I don't play Uta, so I don't know. But we're going to go to a 2k counter that was going at lead. I don't want to drop to 3 unless I need to. Gonna go ahead and send 7 here. And yeah, I don't want to give 2 cards away for that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take it. Get another boa in hand. We know there's a boa somewhere on the top of my deck. And we are at the 7 Dawn turn. Now I do have the ability to play my Raging the Tiger, whatever the heck that card's called, Gravity Blade. It's got like 4 words in the title. I just refer to it as Gravity Blade. But we're gonna go ahead and actually just hit him with the pudding. So I do ask the question, how many cards you got in hand? And so they're just counting 10 cards in hand. Nope, that's it. That is now 5 cards in hand. Goodbye, your well-curated hand. You knew Genesis 3 times, you Nami'd. So you at least got to see 12 cards and got to pick the best 4 out of each of those 3s. So me putting there, honestly, like as soon as I put him, he just was like, you might have this, like, because he had such a strong hand. And I just said, all right, goodbye hand. And he's already at 3. He's at 3 with 5 cards in hand now. It's not looking good, so good. A little face cam appears there. But so far, I'm feeling really good. At least really, really good in this matchup, especially after this pudding. Now, Uda can be really scary when Uda has a very big hand. It's kind of reminiscent to Whitebeard to a degree. It like gives me the Whitebeard shivers. Go ahead and activate there. There's the Jinbei off the top. Jinbei is going to trigger, and we're going to put that Weevil into play for my hand. Weevil is going to draw me a card. Now I have 5 characters on board. And we're going to pressure life with a 7k. I'm just honestly ignoring the threats on board, and I'm just going for life. He only has 5 cards in hand, so I'm just going to be really aggressive at this point. If I wanted to next turn, I could Gravity Blade and bottom deck whatever 2 threats he plays. Okay, no, that was actually a Nami. Oops, my bad. It's kind of hard to tell in this part. So yes, killing Nami, incredibly important. Nami will find them a card every turn as long as they expend a Dawn. And so I will send the 7k to Nami, making him have to counter 2 cards from his newly drawn hand. And then I go ahead and just send 6k with Weevil. No Dawn commitment on that one. 2k from the hand. And we are sitting pretty with 7 cards in hand. 2 Weevils, a Jinbei, a Blocker, a Pudding. Feeling really good. We also have 2 Boas in hand. So potentially if he decides to play, you know, like a bigger character, potentially I could stun it for a turn as well. So Uda bit in the tank here. Uda sitting at 8 Dawn makes me wonder, like, oh, you know, this isn't the turn to play a kid. This is a turn to play like a Luffy. So potentially we could see a leader getting attached with 1 Dawn, and then they swing and then play Luffy. Instead, they go ahead and attach 2 Dawn, so they're going to swing 7 and reveal a Nami. I think that 7 is going at lead here. Because I think potentially they're just trying to find an out to just burn me out. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just counter out of that. I do have the Jinbei in play already, so I am considering whether or not I want to counter out or just block it, and I will just block it there. Doflamingo is only going to do so much more work for me. 6 cards in hand, or 7 cards in hand, 6 Dawn open. Gonna go ahead and send 6 at lead. That leaves me to think that maybe he has like a Brook and a Nami play potentially. And we're just going to go ahead and counter out of that. Doflamingo, plentiful amount of, yep, exactly that. Plentiful amount of 2k is going to go ahead and play a Brook into Nami. Nami searching up a 2k. Uta here potentially trying to build their hand back up. Trying to curate it a little bit. But I think at this point, I just have so much aggression. And this sounds like a really good turn to just Gravity Blade. So we are at the 9 Dawn turn. We could Gravity Blade and then attach, like, we could Gravity Blade and go like 6, then swing 4 6s with the 2 other Dawn. I'm thinking here I could also just swing 7. So we're just going to swing 7 at the Brook. Say, hey, you've got 5 cards in hand. Would you like to deposit 2 cards into your trash for me, or let this Brook perish? And I think he decides it's not worth the trade there. So. And then now, typically, I don't try to give information when I'm going to Gravity Blade somebody. So I'll typically just start swinging first. So I'll send 6 at lead and basically force the opponent to make weird decisions, right? Because they don't know a Gravity Blade's coming, but they see the Dawn is open for it. So like, oh my gosh, he could Gravity Blade me. You know, maybe I don't need to take these hits, right? And if I Gravity Bladed him first, he'd maybe potentially be more likely to counter out of these hits because he knows he doesn't have a board to attack into me next turn. So gonna go ahead and take that 6k. to potentially a trigger here. I'm not very knowledgeable on what triggers there are in Uta. I think most of them are just event triggers. And then I'm thinking, so this is me playing. Oh, I was bluffing. I was playing him so hard. I picked up the Dawn, acted like I was going to attach it, and then set it back down. And then I swung 6, and then I swung 5. We're going to get counters out of both of those. And then, boom, he already sees it on the wall. Tap the 7. Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. That's what that card's called. Right into him. And then just remove the rest of his threats. I'm still sitting pretty with 4 threats on board. He has got one leader, and he's on the 10 Dawn turn. This game's definitely been going my way. It could potentially turn around if he, like, I don't know, plays a drop kid, attaches a Dawn to it, plays out an Uta blocker or something off of it. That's kind of a big threat I have to get through, though I have a lot of attackers on board and he doesn't have a lot of cards in hand, so it potentially won't save him for long. You could also just play the Luffy, the 7-drop Luffy, try to build a little bit of a board. And it honestly depends on how much Dawn he slaps on his leader here. If he slaps 4 on his leader, I know a Luffy's not coming. And he is currently holding 4. So he's going to go ahead and send 4 at Weevil. So Weevil going to go send 9 at Weevil. I do see he grabs I have no idea what that card's called. But it does that event does rest a 5-drop or less, or KO a rest 5-drop or less. So I potentially have that to look forward to this turn as well. So he's going to go ahead and send 9, and I'm going to say, nope, let's make it 10, because I saw I think it's called Blacklight, right? I saw the Blacklight come off the top, so I know he's going to kill one of my things anyways. So I'm just going to make him, like, kill one less thing, right? Because I know that Weevil's probably dead anyways. I'm just going to go ahead and, yep, so he's going to go ahead and untap with the event, and probably swing another, no, okay, we're going to go 10 this time. And I'm going to say, all right, cool, you got it. And then Blacklight that. If I had not countered out of one of those, the first one, it potentially would have been my whole board. At least pudding would be left. But now I just have 2 attackers, which is nice. So I can just pressure life. Continue to build a board here. I do find a Perona off the top. I could use the Perona to stack the top of the deck because I am living blind now. I also have 2 boas in hand. I am thinking, like, is it better to just play the Doflamingo or play the Perona? I'm trying to think of how I want to use my Dawn this turn. If I want to play the Boa, I'm going to have to use the less Dawn commitment from some of my resources, so I'm just going to go ahead and play the Perona first. Look at the top 5. Do find myself a Sanji, a Mihawk, and another Sanji. I'm trying the Sanji tech, guys. I'm trying it, but I don't think I play it this game either, and I didn't play it the last 2 games, so maybe the Sanji tech isn't worth it. Maybe I should just be running Kaidos instead, but I do live for the dream of the Sanji into the Boa, but every time I see the Sanji, I see Boas in my hand. So currently I have 2 out of my 3 Boas in my hand, so that dream's not going to happen here. I do believe I just set the Mihawk on top, to potentially are alive to play something out. I am looking at that Boa as a potential play, but I also just have attackers on board. I could just swing 7/7/7, play something out. And really just pressure life, as he only does have 4 cards in hand. 7 is the golden number for me. I used to think 6 was the golden number, but 7 always guarantees at least 2 cards out of hand. It's definitely more of a commitment to counter out of a 7 than a 6. If you just swing a 6, then it's just a 2k check. So this time I'm going to attack with 7. We're going to activate effect, reveal the Mihawk off the top. Mihawk's going to come in tapped. And 7 to lead, so he could counter 2 cards. He's only got 4 cards in hand. Takes that, and then I think I'm just gonna swing. I do have 6 Dawn open. I could just Boa, but I am just gonna go 7k again, and then I might do just like a 7/7/8 here. Just attach 4 to the pudding. I could also just play a blocker if I wanted to. And looks like we're instead going to tap for the Jinbei. Jinbei is going to replace the Perona with a Doflamingo blocker. Again, looking at the top 5, I get to see 1 more card than I did off the Perona. So we're going to see at least 2 Sanjis and a Red Rock. Let's see what else we can find. So 2 Sanjis, a Red Rock, and another Mihawk. It's literally the same top 5 that I looked at earlier. Just replaced itself with a different art Mihawk. And I think we're going to leave the Red Rock on top, just potentially in case they play like a Doflamingo here. I don't know if Uta runs 10-drop Doflamingo, but, you know, Uta's a wild card, right? People can run whatever top-end green cards they want, whichever they think is best for the meta. Doflamingo could be kind of annoying here. coming down, tapping down 3 of my threats. So having that red rock available could be a pretty good counter to that card. He is at 0 life. He only has like 6 cards in hand. Yeah, it looks like 7 cards in hand. So just setting myself up for a pretty good finishing turn this next turn. So 7 cards in hand, 10 Dawn. Depending on how much he attaches a lead here, pretty much tells me what he plans on doing this turn. A 5k? Okay, just a 5k. I do have two cards in hand. They are both boas, so no counter here. I definitely could have blocked with my Doflamingo there instead, but I decided not to. So we're going to get a Uta blocker and then a Luffy blocker into an Uta blocker. So that red rock off the top might come in pretty handy here, allowing me to get let go of 1 blocker. He did play 3 cards from hand. He's only got 4 cards in hand. He did take a lot of the hits of the turn before, so I'm a little skeptical about how much counter he actually has in hand versus like potentially being all bricks. So we'll go ahead and I think we're just gonna red rock the Luffy and then just swing 7s, something like that. So I'm just debating here. I definitely don't want to start attacking until after the Luffy's gone. Gonna go ahead and separate 6 Dawn off to the side. Got 4 Dawn there. And I think we're just going to pull the trigger and try to go for a game here, potentially. Now, I am still like in a pretty good position. If I do eliminate his whole board, yep, we're going to go red rock the Luffy. Luffy's going to get bottom decked. And then we've got 4 Dawn to work with. I could just go like, I might just go like 5-5-9 or something. So it's like a question of, does he like, there's a lot of ways I could have tackled this turn. I think I could go like 4 5s and a 6. Something like that. So we're going to start with 2 5s. He does just like snap block with the first Uta and then doesn't with the second. So we're just going to go ahead and go 5 again. He does counter with a 2k, which was interesting. So it maybe means he has no 1ks. And then we're just going to go 7 here. I definitely could have just gone 8 instead, but I didn't think I was going to. Okay, yeah. And then he reveals 3 Hody Jones. Yeah, his hand was completely bricked. After this game, he told me that pudding just like completely ruined his strategy and pretty much set him up to lose the game. But that was me in round number 3. So far undefeated 3-0. Let's see what the next round has to offer. See you next time.